Hey guys, so as I said earlier, I am going to be making cream puffs. Cream puffs are a wonderful thing to start with. They're easy to make. Anybody can make them at home with basic pantry items. So let me show you the ingredient list and we'll begin. Okay guys, so the ingredients that we're going to need to make cream puffs, as I said, they're very simple and very easy to make with basic items that we all have in our pantry. Starting with a cup of water, 1 stick of butter, 1 teaspoon of sugar, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 cup of flour, 4 eggs, 1 tablespoon of water, and 1 egg. I do have those eggs separated for a reason, and we'll get to that in just a little bit. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you want to preheat your oven to 375 degrees. Then you want to take a medium saucepan, put it over your heat, and we're going to combine the water, the butter, the sugar, and the salt. I'm going to put that over medium heat and get that up to a boil. Okay, as you can see, the water and the butter, sugar and salt are now up to a nice rolling boil. We're going to stir in the 1 cup of flour. We're going to stir that in vigorously into the water and butter until it all incorporates, turns into a thick paste. And keep stirring until it starts to form a film on the bottom of the pan. Okay, see how it turned into a nice smooth ball? And there is a film on the bottom of the pan. We're now going to turn off the heat, take this off the heat, and put this ball of dough into a standing mixer. Okay, so we're putting the ball that we just created into the stand mixer, and we're going to let this cool for about 2 to 3 minutes. So it's been about 2 minutes. The dough has been cooling. We're going to now turn it on with the paddle attachment onto medium for about a minute or so. While that is cooling off even more, letting some air incorporate into it so it cools down, we're going to have our eggs ready to incorporate into the dough. So the mixer has been running for about a minute now, and we are going to incorporate 1 egg at a time. You're going to knock the speed down to low and incorporate 1 egg at a time. Do not add the second egg or the third or fourth until the first one has been fully incorporated. This is going to take a few minutes to make each addition. Time to time, you may need to lift the mixer, go in, and just scrape down the sides to make sure that there is nothing sticking in the bowl. So now all the eggs have been incorporated and the dough is mixing, and what we've actually created now is something called a pâte à choux, or a choux paste. This is the foundation for most of the puffy desserts, for eclairs, cream puffs. This dough can be made both sweet and savory by the addition of additional salt. It can be made sweet by additional sugar. You could also use this dough to make savory items like you could throw some chopped herbs in, whip up some goat cheese and stuff it with goat cheese to make it as an appetizer or for a passing hors d'oeuvre. Or you can make it sweet like we are, and we're going to be making cream puffs today. Okay, so we're going to keep the mixer going. We're going to slowly lift it up while it's still running, so that this way everything comes off the beaters into the bowl. Going to turn it off. And you can see that paste that we created. It looks wonderful right now. So we're going to scrape off every bit of this. Okay, as you can see, everything looks perfect. Then what we need to do is we need to transfer this into a piping bag. I am lazy. I don't like using piping bags because they need to be cleaned. I personally prefer to use just a regular zip-top bag. So we're going to transfer this into a zip-top bag. Keep in mind, this is very, very sticky. Don't leave any in the bowl. Any little bit you leave, that could be another cream puff. And we don't want to waste cream puffs. Take the bag, squeeze it tight, squeeze all the air out as possible, give it a twist, and there you go. You have a piping bag filled with your choux paste to make cream puffs. Set that aside. We're going to take that one egg that we had on the side, mix it with the 1 tablespoon of water, and we are going to whisk them together. This is going to be used on the top of the cream puffs to give them a beautiful golden color as they're baking. Okay, and we're going to set that aside. Using a pair of scissors, we are going to snip the top or the end of the zip top bag, twist the bag, and now we have our dough ready to use. And we're going to pipe it onto a baking sheet that has parchment paper into about 1.5-inch rounds. You could make them as big as you want, as small as you want. You can make them into log shapes to make eclairs. That's exactly what the same dough. So I'm going to continue piping these out, and I'll be right back. So I went ahead and I piped out all the cream puffs. Now I'm going to take a little bit of water on the tip of my finger, and we are just going to flatten out those points that were created when we piped them. This way we get a nice rounded dome top. I went ahead and I flattened out all the tops of the cream puffs. Now I'm going to take that egg wash that we made earlier. I'm just going to brush just a little bit over the tops of each one, and that is going to create a beautiful golden top to each one of these as they bake in the oven. Okay, now that I've brushed the tops of all of them, I'm going to put them into the 375-degree oven for about 30 minutes until they're puffed and beautifully golden brown on the top. Okay, so it's been about 25 to 30 minutes right now. The cream puffs have just come out of the oven. You can see how beautifully golden they are on top. What we're going to do is we're going to take a little paring knife, and we're just going to pierce a tiny hole on the top of each one just to let the steam out. This way they don't get soggy. Then we're going to put them on a cooling rack and let them cool for at least 30 minutes. Then we will start getting ready to fill them. Once I have all these pierced and ready, I am going to show you how to finish the filling with the pastry cream to get these ready to be filled. Okay, so to finish the filling for our cream puffs, we're going to go back to the stand mixer with a cold bowl and 1 cup of heavy whipping cream with the whisk attachment. Put it on, start it on low, and then slowly increase the speed as it starts to incorporate. What we want is we want medium peaks. We don't want firm peaks, we don't want soft peaks, we want medium peaks. And as you can see, it's starting to whip up. Increase the speed. I'm going to let that go for just a few minutes till it gets right to where we want. So the cream has been going for a few minutes. You can see how it is. It's not a very thick whipped cream, but it's light and fluffy. And it barely holds a peak when you do this. So this is exactly what we were looking for. So we're going to transfer this whipped cream into another bowl and then get out the pastry cream and put it into this bowl. See, I wasn't too concerned with how the cream looks with getting every bit of cream out of the bowl, because we're going to eventually be putting everything back into this bowl. I just put in the pastry cream that we made earlier. I'm going to put it down and let it whip up for just a few moments till this becomes smooth and creamy. As you can see, we're incorporating a little bit of air into the pastry cream, and it is getting very silky. Okay, so now we're going to turn off the mixer. I'm going to take the whip off, tap off every last bit of that pastry cream. Going to remove the bowl, set it aside, and then we're going to get rid of the stand mixer. We have the pastry cream, which is all nice and smooth. We are going to incorporate the whipped cream. I'm going to do it in about 2 installments. The first installment is going to help loosen this up a bit. And we're not stirring, we're folding. You don't want to stir, you don't want to break up all the bubbles from the cream. You want to lighten this up. And you want to keep stirring and folding. As you can see, I'm cutting into the cream and then wrapping around the bowl. I'm not mixing it, I'm folding it. You're going to keep going and going until you see no more streaks of the white of the whipped cream. And you can see how it's all incorporated now. And now I'm going to go ahead and add in the remaining whipped cream and do the same thing. Similar to what we did earlier, we're going to transfer this into a zip top bag, and we're going to use the zip top bag as a pastry bag. So what I'm going to do first, so this time, is I'm going to snip the tip of the bag, and I'm going to insert a star tip. I'm going to put the star tip into the bag, and then I'm going to fold it over, put it into the vessel, so this way it's easier for me to put the cream in the bag. I'm going to fill the bag with the fluffy, beautiful, silky cream filling for our cream puffs. And as I always say, don't leave any in the bowl, unless you want to lick the bowl later. Okay, now that the bag is filled with pastry cream, we are going to zip the top closed, take it out, squeeze out any excess air, and we are ready to fill our cream puffs. Okay, so now we have our cool cream puffs. We have our pastry cream. So we're going to take our cream puffs. We're going to pierce the bottom with the paring knife, give it a twist to make a little hole for the star tip to go into. We're going to do that on all the cream puffs. This way we have a nice way to fill them up all the way with pastry cream. Just so you know, when they're done and they're puffed up, what they should look like on the inside. I'm going to cut one open for you just so you can see how beautifully light, airy, that big pocket that we're going to fill with cream looks like. So here we go. Oh, look at that. See that big cavity inside? We're going to fill that cavity with pastry cream. Yum. Okay, so all the cream puffs are ready. The cream is ready. I'm going to give it a twist. Insert the star tip into the hole that we created on the bottom of the puff. Give it a squeeze. And fill each cream puff with that beautiful cream that we made earlier. Now, if you don't want to go through this process, you don't really have to. You could take the cream instead of putting it in a bag and in a star tip like we did here. And you could just take the cream and you could spoon it into the cream puff. You can take the cream puff, you can cut it open like this. And you could just spoon it in, or you could even take the piping bag and pipe it in like this and give it a close, and you can fill your cream puffs that way. But when all is said and done, you're going to have these beautiful cream puffs that are filled with this lovely cream. Hope you guys enjoy it. Take care and have a great rest of your day.